My dear friends, today let us talk about something that many chase but few truly understand, what it really means to be a high value woman. Now, don't misunderstand. Being high value is not about wearing designer clothes, driving a luxury car, or having 1,000 followers on Instagram. Those things are nice, but they don't define you. A high value woman is not made by the world. She is made by her values, her mindset, and her inner strength. Let me share with you 6 powerful principles that can help every woman, young or old, to step into her true power and worth. Knowing your worth is one of the most powerful gifts you can ever give yourself. It is the foundation of confidence, the source of self-respect, and the shield that protects you from the things and people that are not meant for you. Most of the time, we underestimate ourselves because the world has convinced us that we are less than what we truly are. We look for validation in the wrong places, from people who don't even know their own value, from jobs that treat us like we are replaceable, or from relationships that drain more than they give. But the truth is, the moment you truly know your worth, your entire life begins to change. Think about a diamond in a jewelry shop. It doesn't need to beg to be bought. It doesn't try to convince anyone how precious it is. It just sits there quietly because it knows its value. The ones who understand its worth will pay the price without hesitation. And the same is true for you. When you carry yourself with quiet confidence, when you stop trying to prove yourself to everyone, the right people, the right opportunities, and the right kind of love will naturally be drawn to you. Many of us grow up thinking we need to earn worthiness. Maybe we heard people say, "You're not good enough," or "You'll never achieve anything big." Over time, those words create invisible chains around our minds, making us feel undeserving of better. But self-worth isn't something that anyone else can give or take away. It is something you decide for yourself. The day you wake up and say, "I am enough as I am," is the day you start living as a high-value woman. Look at it in daily life. Imagine you're at work and you're constantly overworking, staying late, doing favors for everyone, and yet nobody appreciates you. You start feeling burned out, unappreciated, even invisible. Now imagine the same scenario, but this time you know your worth. You set healthy boundaries. You do your work with excellence, but you also respect your own time and energy. You don't allow yourself to be taken advantage of. And what happens? People start treating you differently, not because they suddenly changed, but because you did. You taught them how to treat you by showing them how you treat yourself. This principle applies to relationships too. When you don't know your worth, you'll find yourself accepting less than you deserve, from friends who use you, from partners who don't respect you, or from environments that don't help you grow. But the moment you know your value, something shifts. You no longer tolerate inconsistency. You stop explaining why you deserve respect, love, and loyalty. Instead, you quietly remove yourself from places that don't recognize your value. And here's the beautiful thing. The right people will never make you feel like you're too much. They'll look at you and say, "Finally, someone who knows her own power." And knowing your worth is also about the little choices you make every day. It's choosing to take care of your health. because you know your body deserves it. It's choosing to spend time with people who uplift you rather than those who pull you down. It's choosing to invest in your growth, reading that book, taking that course, learning that skill, because you know that you are your own greatest asset. Every small decision you make in alignment with your worth builds a life that reflects it. But let's be honest, knowing your worth doesn't mean you won't face challenges. You will still meet people who try to make you feel small, jobs that make you question your skills, or situations that test your patience. The difference is that your response changes. Instead of shrinking yourself to fit into places that don't value you, you stand tall and walk away knowing that your peace, your energy, and your dignity are far more valuable than any temporary comfort. Sometimes people will say, "Oh, she's changed. She thinks she's better than us now." And that's okay. Growth often makes others uncomfortable, especially those who benefited from your lack of self-worth. But you must remember, honoring your value is not arrogance, it's self-respect. It's a declaration that you finally understand that you were never meant to be treated like an option or a backup plan. Think of it this way: when you walk into a store and see a luxury handbag, you don't argue with the price tag. You either pay for it if you can afford it, or you walk away. But the bag never lowers its price just to be sold. It knows what it's worth, and so should you. When you know your worth, you stop negotiating your value. You stop begging people to choose you, to respect you, to love you. You realize that you are the prize, and those who see it will meet you where you are without asking you to dim your light. In everyday life, this self-awareness changes everything. You no longer stay in friendships where you're only valued for what you give, not for who you are. You no longer chase after people who make you feel like you have to earn their attention. You no longer tolerate disrespect in silence. Instead, you move with quiet strength, knowing that protecting your energy is not selfish, it's necessary. Emotional control is one of the greatest forms of strength a person can possess, and for a high-value woman, it is nothing short of a superpower. Life will always throw situations at you that test your patience, your kindness, and your peace of mind. People will say things that sting, circumstances will arise that frustrate you, and emotions will surge inside you, urging you to react in ways you may later regret. But here's the truth: power doesn't lie in how loudly you react, but in how gracefully you respond. Imagine this: you're in a meeting at work, sharing an idea that you've worked hard on, and someone interrupts you, dismissing your suggestion with a careless comment. Your first instinct might be to snap, to defend yourself, to match their energy. But instead, you take a deep breath, pause, and with calm confidence, present your point clearly and assertively. In that moment, you've not only controlled your emotions, but also gained silent respect from everyone in that room. Because true power is calm, not chaos. Emotional control is not about suppressing your feelings or pretending that things don't affect you. It's about choosing your response deliberately instead of reacting impulsively. When you master this art, you stop giving people the keys to your peace. You stop letting every rude comment, every criticism, and every setback disturb your mental balance. You become like a deep, still ocean, steady on the surface, even if there's turbulence beneath. Think about the times you've lost your temper or let frustration dictate your actions. Maybe you sent a text in anger that you later regretted. Maybe you shouted at someone only to feel guilty afterward. These moments teach us that reactions are often temporary, but their consequences can be lasting. On the other hand, when you remain composed, when you take a step back and respond with clarity instead of emotion, you maintain your dignity, your self-respect, and your peace of mind. There's an old saying, don't let people pull you into their storm. Instead, pull them into your calm. This is what emotional control does. It keeps you grounded when the world around you is trying to shake you. It's like having an invisible shield that protects your inner peace. Take relationships, for example. Arguments happen with partners, friends, or even family. When tempers rise, emotions can lead us to say things we don't mean. But a high-value woman understands the strength of silence and patience. Instead of escalating the argument, she pauses, processes, and speaks only when her words are thoughtful, not hurtful. And because of that, her relationships are built on respect, not regret. Daily life offers countless examples where emotional control changes everything. You're driving, and someone cuts you off recklessly. Do you chase them, honk endlessly, and ruin your own mood for the next hour? Or do you simply let it go, knowing that protecting your peace is more important than proving a point to a stranger you'll never see again? In that small moment, you've chosen power over impulse. Or think about social media, a space where opinions fly freely and criticism is constant. People will judge you, misunderstand you, and sometimes even insult you without reason. Without emotional control, you could find yourself defending, explaining, or arguing endlessly, draining your energy. But when you know how to respond with calm, or sometimes not respond at all, you maintain your dignity while also protecting your mental well-being. Emotional control also allows you to think clearly in difficult situations. Imagine facing a setback, maybe a job rejection, a failed business venture, or a relationship that didn't work out. The initial emotional storm can make you want to quit, lash out, or wallow in self-pity. But when you're grounded in emotional balance, you give yourself space to process the pain without letting it consume you. You start looking at the situation rationally, asking yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow stronger from here? That shift in perspective is where resilience is born. One of the most empowering parts of emotional control is that it silently commands respect. People naturally gravitate towards those who can stay composed under pressure. They trust you more because your calm energy makes them feel safe and steady. Whether it's in professional settings, friendships, or romantic relationships, being able to handle emotions with grace sets you apart. It's also important to remember that emotional control doesn't make you robotic. It doesn't mean you stop feeling deeply or caring passionately. What it does is allow you to honor your emotions without letting them dictate your behavior. You can be hurt and still choose not to lash out. You can be angry and still choose not to act recklessly. You can feel fear and still choose to move forward with courage. That's what makes it powerful. The ability to feel, but not be ruled by those feelings. Mastering emotional control is a journey. It takes self-awareness, patience, and practice. There will be moments where you slip, where your emotions get the better of you. That's human. But with time, you start to notice the shift. Fewer regrets, fewer conflicts, and a much deeper sense of inner peace. And the beauty of it is that this strength influences every area of your life. Your career benefits because you handle challenges with calm professionalism. Your relationships thrive because you communicate with clarity instead of chaos. Your health improves because you're not constantly stressed or anxious over things beyond your control. A high value woman understands that her emotions are hers to manage, not to hand over to the world. She knows that no one deserves the power to disrupt her peace without her permission. And that quiet strength, that calm confidence, is what truly makes her magnetic, respected, and admired. So, when life tests you, and it will, remember that your reaction is your choice. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. And in that choice lies your greatest power, your highest value, and your deepest sense of freedom. ChatGPT said continuous growth is the heartbeat of a high value woman. It is the quiet, steady commitment to becoming a better version of yourself every single day, not to prove anything to the world, but to honor the potential within you. Growth is not loud. It does not always happen in grand gestures or dramatic changes. Often, it is in the little choices you make: to read instead of scroll, to learn instead of complain, to try instead of fear, that you begin to bloom in ways you never imagined. Think of a flower. It doesn't blossom overnight. It absorbs the sunlight, draws strength from the soil, and patiently grows day by day. You too are like that flower. Your dreams, your skills, your strength, they grow with consistent nurturing. Continuous growth is about watering your own garden, investing in your mind, your heart, and your soul so that you can stand tall and radiant no matter the season of life you're in. One of the most beautiful truths about growth is that it is deeply personal. It is not about competing with others or trying to live up to someone else's idea of success. It's about looking at where you are today and asking yourself, how can I be just a little better than I was yesterday? That could mean learning a new skill, developing emotional intelligence, building healthier habits, or simply changing your perspective on life's challenges. Take an everyday example. Imagine you're in a job that feels stagnant. The easy thing to do would be to complain about your boss, your salary, or your environment. But a woman committed to growth looks inward and asks, what can I learn here? What skill can I build while I'm in this season that will help me in the next one? She signs up for that online course. She reads that book on leadership. She observes her workplace dynamics. And by the time an opportunity comes, she's ready for it. That is the power of consistent, intentional growth. The same principle applies to personal life. Perhaps you've been through heartbreak, rejection, or failure. It's tempting to sit in that pain, to feel like life has been unfair. But growth whispers to you, this is not the end of your story. This is the lesson. And when you lean into that lesson, when you use the pain to build resilience, to understand yourself better, to choose differently next time, you transform what could have broken you into something that builds you. That transformation is growth in its purest form. Continuous growth also builds confidence in ways nothing else can. There's a certain glow that comes from knowing you're not the same person you were 6 months ago. Maybe you're healthier because you committed to regular exercise. Maybe you're wiser because you finally learned to set boundaries. Maybe you're more peaceful because you started practicing gratitude every morning. That progress, however small it may seem, creates an unshakable sense of self-worth because you know, deep down, that you are actively becoming your best self. And here's the beauty: growth is magnetic. When you're committed to evolving, you naturally attract better opportunities and healthier relationships. People notice the way you carry yourself, the calm confidence that comes from knowing you're investing in your own potential. You stop chasing validation because you realize that the only approval you need is your own. Let's talk about relationships for a moment. When you're growing, you begin to recognize the kind of people who deserve a place in your life. You no longer settle for friendships or romances that drain you because you've raised your own standards. And as you grow, you inspire those around you to grow too. Your commitment to becoming better becomes a quiet invitation for others to rise with you. But growth is not always comfortable. In fact, it rarely is. It requires you to step out of your comfort zone, to try things that scare you, to face parts of yourself you've been avoiding. Maybe it's speaking up in that meeting, even though your voice shakes. Maybe it's ending a toxic friendship, even though you fear being alone. Maybe it's forgiving someone, or even yourself, to finally move forward. Those moments of discomfort are where true growth happens. Another thing about continuous growth is that it teaches you humility. The more you learn, the more you realize how much there is still to learn. This humility keeps you grounded. It reminds you that growth is not a destination you reach, but a lifelong journey. There is no final version of you. There is only the evolving version, the one that keeps expanding with every experience, every lesson, every choice to rise instead of stay the same. Think about the small, daily practices that feed your growth. Waking up a little earlier to meditate or journal. Listening to podcasts that challenge your thinking. Spending time with people who inspire you instead of those who gossip or complain. These little habits compound over time, creating a version of you that is stronger, wiser, and more centered than ever before. Growth also changes the way you handle setbacks. Instead of seeing failure as a dead end, you begin to see it as feedback. You understand that every challenge is an opportunity to learn something new about yourself and the world around you. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That shift in perspective turns obstacles into stepping stones. Continuous growth also brings an incredible sense of peace. You no longer rush through life trying to have it all figured out. Instead, you trust the process. You understand that every season, the highs, the lows, the waiting, the blooming, has its purpose. You stop comparing your journey to someone else's because you know that your path is uniquely yours and that your growth is unfolding exactly as it should. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are doors that teach people how to come in. They are not about selfishness. They are about self-respect. A high-value woman understands that setting boundaries is one of the most powerful ways to protect her peace, her energy, and her worth. It is a declaration to the world that says, I know my value, and I will not allow anyone or anything to treat me less than I deserve. Many people struggle with boundaries because they confuse them with being rude or unkind. We fear that saying no will make us look arrogant, or that distancing ourselves from toxic people will make us seem cold. But here's the truth: you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you are constantly giving, constantly saying yes, constantly bending yourself to make everyone else happy, you will wake up one day completely drained, wondering why no one shows you the same care you show them. Boundaries are how you refill that cup. Think of your life like a beautiful garden. If you never build a fence around it, anyone can walk in, even those who trample the flowers or throw trash on the soil. Setting boundaries is like building that fence. It doesn't mean you stop welcoming people. It simply means that only those who respect your garden are allowed to stay. In daily life, boundaries show up in many small but powerful ways. Imagine you have a friend who constantly calls you late at night to vent about their problems, even when you've told them you have an early meeting in the morning. At first, you keep answering, thinking you're being a good friend. But over time, you're exhausted, resentful, and struggling to function during the day. A boundary here would look like gently but firmly saying, I care about you and want to support you, but I need to be off my phone by 10 p.m. Let's talk earlier next time. That small act of self-respect doesn't make you a bad friend. It makes you a healthy one. Boundaries also matter in the workplace. Maybe you're the kind of person who always says yes to extra tasks because you don't want to disappoint anyone. But every time you do, you stay late, skip meals, and silently suffer while others move on with their lives. Setting a boundary might mean respectfully declining extra work when your plate is full, or asking for clear expectations so you're not being overburdened. It's not about being lazy, it's about protecting your mental health and ensuring that your contributions are valued, not exploited. In relationships, boundaries are even more crucial. If someone you love constantly disrespects your feelings, dismisses your needs, or crosses lines you've clearly communicated, a lack of boundaries will keep you trapped in a cycle of hurt. But when you know your worth, you understand that love without respect is not love at all. You start to demand the kind of respect you freely give. You stop accepting apologies without changed behavior. You stop explaining your worth to people who refuse to see it. And here's the thing about boundaries: the people who genuinely love and respect you will honor them without hesitation. They may not always understand them right away, but they will make the effort because they value you. The ones who push back, who guilt trip you, or who accuse you of changing, those are often the very people who benefited from your lack of boundaries in the first place. And when they fall away, it's not a loss, it's a clearing, making space for healthier, more respectful connections. One of the most liberating things about setting boundaries is the confidence it builds. The first few times you say no, you may feel guilty or anxious. But over time, you realize that every boundary you enforce is an act of self-love. It's you telling yourself, I matter. My time, my energy, my peace, they matter. And that self-respect becomes a quiet strength that radiates in every part of your life. Boundaries are also about teaching people how to treat you. When you allow disrespect, you unintentionally teach others that it's acceptable. But when you stand firm, with kindness, not hostility, you teach them that your space is sacred, your peace is valuable, and your worth is non-negotiable. Imagine someone who constantly criticizes your choices, your career, your appearance, your lifestyle. Without boundaries, their words can chip away at your confidence, making you doubt yourself. But with boundaries, you can calmly say, I appreciate your concern, but my choices are mine to make. If you can't respect that, I need some space. That's not being confrontational, that's protecting your mental and emotional health. Boundaries also give you the freedom to show up more fully in your relationships. When you're not drained, when you're not harboring resentment from giving or being taken for granted, you have more love, more joy, and more energy to share with those who truly deserve it. You can be present without feeling used, generous without feeling empty, loving without losing yourself. The beauty of boundaries is that they are deeply personal. What feels right for you may not feel right for someone else, and that's okay. The goal isn't to live by someone else's rules, it's to create a life that feels balanced, healthy, and respectful of your needs and values. Setting boundaries will not always be easy. Some people will misunderstand, some will resist, and some relationships may even end. But with every boundary you set, you'll find a new level of peace, clarity, and strength. You'll realize that boundaries are not barriers, they are bridges to a life where you are no longer at the mercy of others' demands, where your energy is spent on things and people that truly matter, and where your self-worth is honored in every interaction. A high-value woman knows that protecting her peace is not optional, it's essential. She knows that every no she says to things that drain her is a yes to her own well-being. She knows that boundaries are not about keeping the world out, but about letting the right people in, the ones who value her, respect her, and meet her where she deserves to be met. And when you start living with those boundaries, something magical happens. Life feels lighter, relationships feel healthier, and you begin to realize that the greatest act of love you can ever give to yourself and to others is to show up whole, unbroken, and deeply at peace because you finally honored the sacred space of your own heart. You said, ChatGPT said radiating feminine energy with confidence is not about how you look, what you wear, or how perfectly you fit into society's idea of femininity. It is about embracing the quiet, powerful essence within you, that balance of grace and strength that makes people stop and take notice without you even saying a word. Feminine energy is magnetic. It doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to prove itself. It simply is. And when you learn to walk in that energy with confidence, you unlock a level of presence that changes how the world experiences you. Feminine energy is about owning who you are, your softness, your compassion, your nurturing heart, while also standing firm in your boundaries and strength. Too often, women are told that being strong means becoming hard, or that being soft means being weak. But the truth is, the most powerful women are those who know how to be both, soft enough to be kind, strong enough to be respected. Think about someone you've met who carried herself with quiet confidence. She didn't need to be the loudest person in the room. Her energy spoke louder than words. Maybe it was the way she smiled, the calm in her voice, or the way she stood tall even in uncomfortable situations. That is the beauty of feminine confidence. It's not about dominating a room, it's about owning your space with grace. This energy shows up in the simplest of daily situations. Imagine walking into a meeting where you're the only woman at the table. Instead of shrinking into the background, you sit with good posture, speak clearly, and share your thoughts without hesitation. You're not aggressive, you're assertive. You're not trying to prove you belong, you know you do. That subtle, unshakable belief in yourself commands respect without you demanding it. Or think about social situations. When you're radiating feminine energy with confidence, you don't feel the need to compete for attention or approval. You're not trying to impress anyone by pretending to be something you're not. You're simply yourself, and that authenticity makes you stand out more than any act ever could. People are naturally drawn to you because your presence feels safe, calm, and genuine. Radiating feminine energy also means embracing your natural rhythms instead of fighting them. It's allowing yourself to rest when you're tired, to laugh loudly when you're happy, to cry when you're hurting, without feeling ashamed. It's honoring your emotions as a part of your strength, not something to hide. When you accept yourself fully, the light and the shadows, you exude a kind of confidence that no one can take away from you. Daily life offers countless opportunities to practice this energy. Picture yourself at a family gathering where relatives are questioning your choices, your career, your relationships, your timeline. Instead of becoming defensive or shrinking under their opinions, you smile gently and say, "I trust the path I'm on." That calm assurance speaks volumes. It tells people that you're grounded and that you know yourself and that you don't need external validation to feel secure. Feminine energy with confidence is also about the way you treat others. It's the kindness you show to strangers, the patience you have with those who are struggling, the way you make people feel seen and valued. This doesn't mean you let people walk over you. Far from it. It means you lead with compassion, but never compromise your self-respect. That balance of softness and strength creates an aura that people admire and trust. Think about the impact this energy has on relationships. When you're secure in your feminine confidence, you don't chase love, friendship, or approval. You attract it naturally because people can sense that you're whole on your own. You're not looking for someone to complete. You're looking for someone to grow with you, and that shift changes the kind of people and energy you allow into your life. This confidence isn't built overnight. It grows with self-awareness, self-care, and self-acceptance. It's in the quiet moments when you choose to love yourself despite your flaws, when you celebrate your progress instead of criticizing your pace, when you forgive yourself for past mistakes and step forward with grace. Over time, these small acts of self-love become the foundation of a presence that is unshakable. Feminine energy with confidence also brings peace. You stop comparing yourself to others because you understand that your journey is uniquely yours. You stop apologizing for taking up space because you know you have every right to be here. You stop over explaining your choices because you trust yourself enough to stand by them. This inner peace is what makes your outer presence so powerful. Another beautiful part of radiating feminine energy is the way it allows you to inspire others. Without even trying, you become a mirror for people around you. Your calm, your confidence, your balance. It reminds others that they too can embrace who they are without fear. You lead by example, showing that true confidence is quiet, authentic, and deeply rooted in self-respect. And perhaps the most empowering truth about feminine energy is this: it doesn't require perfection. You don't need to have the perfect life, the perfect job, the perfect body, or the perfect relationship to radiate confidence. You only need to show up as yourself, fully and unapologetically. Because confidence isn't about being flawless, it's about embracing your flaws and realizing they don't make you any less valuable. Choosing peace over drama is one of the most liberating decisions a woman can ever make. It's a conscious choice to protect your energy, to value your mental and emotional well-being above the temporary satisfaction of proving a point, winning an argument, or engaging in chaos. Peace is not the absence of problems. Life will always have challenges, but it is the presence of clarity, self-control, and an unshakable calm that allows you to handle those challenges without letting them consume you. Drama is everywhere. It shows up in friendships that thrive on gossip, relationships built on insecurity, workplaces filled with politics, and even in the endless noise of social media. But here's the truth: you don't have to participate in it. You don't have to answer every insult, defend every rumor, or explain your every decision. A high-value woman understands that her energy is sacred, and not every situation, not every person, is worth her time or her peace. Think about a time someone tried to provoke you. Maybe a colleague who spoke to you rudely, a friend who betrayed your trust, or a relative who made a hurtful comment. The natural instinct is to react, to fight back, to let them know you won't be disrespected. But what often happens when you do? The situation escalates, your energy gets drained, and you're left feeling frustrated and exhausted. Choosing peace doesn't mean you allow disrespect. It means you respond with calm instead of chaos. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply walk away, knowing that your silence speaks louder than any argument ever could. Daily life offers countless examples where choosing peace can change everything. Imagine driving to work and someone cuts you off aggressively. You have two options: honk, yell, and carry that anger with you all day, or take a deep breath, let it go, and arrive at work with your mind clear and your mood intact. That small decision sets the tone for your entire day. Or consider social media, where everyone seems to have an opinion about how you should live your life. Without peace, you find yourself constantly defending, arguing, or feeling offended. But when you value your peace, you realize that not every comment deserves a response. You start to understand that someone else's perception of you is not your reality, and you let them talk while you keep building your life quietly. Choosing peace also transforms your relationships. When you no longer engage in unnecessary arguments or petty conflicts, you create space for healthier, more meaningful connections. You stop needing to be right all the time and start focusing on what truly matters: mutual respect, trust, and understanding. And when a relationship becomes toxic or one sided, instead of clinging to it for fear of being alone, you choose to step back, not out of anger, but out of love for yourself and your well being. One of the most empowering aspects of choosing peace is realizing that your energy is your responsibility. No one can protect it for you. People will test you, intentionally or unintentionally, but your reaction is always yours to control. The moment you stop allowing others to dictate your emotions, you reclaim your power. Suddenly, their words don't sting as much, their actions don't shake you, and their chaos no longer drags you in. Peace is also about perspective. Life will throw problems your way: a missed opportunity, a financial setback, a relationship ending. But how you see those problems determines how much they affect you. When you operate from a place of peace, you start to see challenges as lessons, not punishments. You begin to trust that everything happening is shaping you for something greater, and that mindset keeps you steady even in the midst of storms. Imagine coming home after a long, stressful day. You could choose to complain endlessly, scroll through negativity online, and let the tension build. Or you could choose to light a candle, make yourself a cup of tea, play soft music, and breathe. That simple act of choosing peace, of creating a calm environment for yourself, can completely shift your energy. Over time, those small acts of intentional calm build a life where chaos no longer has the power to control you. Choosing peace doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. It shows that you value your inner world enough to protect it from unnecessary battles. It means you've matured to a point where you no longer need to prove your strength to anyone, because your calm confidence already speaks for itself. And here's the beautiful thing: peace is magnetic. People are drawn to those who are steady, grounded, and calm. In a world where everyone is constantly reacting, your ability to stay composed sets you apart. It makes people trust you, respect you, and admire you, not because you're perfect, but because you've mastered the art of being unshaken. Even in the most difficult situations, choosing peace allows you to respond with clarity. When someone insults you, instead of lashing out, you can calmly set a boundary. When a problem arises, instead of panicking, you can think through your next steps. That calm, collected energy doesn't just protect your relationships, it helps you make better decisions for your life. Peace also teaches you to let go of grudges, of old hurts, of the need to control everything. You start to understand that not everything deserves space in your heart or your mind. The things that are meant for you will never require you to lose yourself in the process of keeping them. And the things that are not meant for you will naturally fall away when you stop chasing them. Over time, this choice becomes your way of life. You start seeking environments that feel good for your soul, conversations that uplift you, and relationships that nurture your growth. You realize that drama, chaos, and negativity are no longer compatible with the woman you are becoming.